Welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to talk about something that almost every English learner struggles with: grammar. Now, before you roll your eyes or click away, hear me out. Grammar doesn't have to be complicated, boring, or stressful. In fact, when you understand a few simple patterns, grammar starts to feel natural, like second nature. Most learners think grammar is about memorizing endless rules, charts, and exceptions. But the truth is, native speakers don't think about rules when they talk. They speak automatically because they've learned to feel the structure of the language. So in this video, I'm going to show you simple grammar tricks that actually work, methods that make grammar automatic, easy to remember, and practical for real life. Not theory, not textbook exercises, just real understanding that helps you speak and write better English every single day. Let's get started. Part 1. The power of time signals. The first trick is what I call the time signal method, and it's one of the easiest ways to choose the correct tense without thinking about complicated grammar terms like present perfect or past continuous. Think about this: every sentence in English tells us when something happens, in the past, now, or in the future. And English gives us small clues called time signals to help us know which tense to use. Here's how it works. If you hear words like yesterday, last night, or 2 days ago, you know the action is in the past. If you hear every day, usually, always, or sometimes, that means it's a regular habit, so we use the present simple. If you hear right now, at the moment, or currently, that means the action is happening right now, so we use the continuous form. And if you hear tomorrow, next week, or soon, that's the future. These tiny words, yesterday, right now, every day, tomorrow, are like signs that point to the right tense. Once you train yourself to listen for these time signals, you don't have to think about grammar at all. You'll automatically choose the correct form because your brain connects the situation to the tense. This is how native speakers do it. They don't think, I should use the present perfect tense here. They just react to the time signal. So next time you read or hear English, focus on these time clues. They'll train your brain to think in the correct tense automatically. Part 2. The sentence shape method. The second trick is the sentence shape method. Grammar becomes so much easier when you start thinking of sentences as shapes or patterns, not as lists of rules. For example, almost every English sentence follows one of a few basic patterns. Subject plus verb plus object, for example, I eat apples. Subject plus be plus adjective, for example, she is happy. There plus be plus noun, for example, there is a problem. When you understand these basic sentence shapes, you can build thousands of correct sentences without memorizing any grammar book. Let's say you want to describe something. That's usually subject plus be plus adjective. If you want to talk about something you do, it's subject plus verb plus object. If you want to say something exists or appears, it's there plus be plus noun. This simple awareness helps your brain recognize the structure behind every sentence you read or hear. Over time, you'll start to notice that English grammar is built on repetition. The same sentence shapes appear again and again, just with different words. For example, she is tall. They are excited. It is late. All of those follow the same pattern, be plus adjective. When you can see the pattern, you can build new sentences quickly and correctly, without having to remember what rule number it was in your grammar book. This is how fluency grows, not from memorizing but from recognizing patterns automatically. Part 3. The replace it trick for articles. The next simple grammar trick is for something many learners find confusing: articles, a, an, and the. Here's how to make it easy. Use the replace it trick. When you're not sure whether to say a or the, try replacing the word with one or this. If one fits naturally, then you need a or an. If this fits naturally, then you probably need the. For example, imagine you say, I saw a cat. That means any cat, not a specific one. You could replace it with I saw one cat. But if you say, I saw the cat, you're talking about a specific cat, one that both you and the listener know about, maybe the neighbor's cat that comes every morning. This small trick helps you understand the difference between general and specific ideas, which is exactly what English articles are about. And here's one more part of the trick. If something is uncountable like water, advice, or information, you don't use a or an. You can't say a water or an advice. Instead, you can use words like some or a piece of if you want to be specific. Once you start thinking this way, articles stop being confusing. They start to make sense. Part 4. The question switch. Now let's talk about questions. Many learners find English questions confusing because the word order changes. But there's an easy trick I call the question switch. In English, when you ask a question with be, you just switch the order. So instead of saying she is tired, you say is she tired? Instead of they are ready, you say are they ready? That's it. You just switch the position of be. For other verbs, you use do or does at the beginning. You like coffee becomes do you like coffee? He plays football becomes does he play football? You don't need to overthink it. You just remember, be question switch position, and other verbs use do or does. This simple understanding helps you build correct questions automatically. And when you practice it in real conversation, it becomes second nature. Part 5. The 3-zone system. Here's another powerful trick to make grammar simple. The 3-zone system. You can think of all English grammar as happening in 3 zones: past, present, and future. In each zone, there are simple and continuous forms. That's all. Once you understand that, you don't need to memorize names like present perfect continuous. You just think in time zones. For example, if the action happened before now, it's in the past zone. If it's happening right now, it's in the present zone. If it will happen later, it's in the future zone. Inside each zone, you can decide if it's a one-time action, simple, or something in progress, continuous. That's it. So when you say, I eat breakfast every day, that's present simple, a regular action. When you say, I am eating breakfast now, that's present continuous, an action in progress. When you say, I will eat breakfast later, that's future simple, something planned. This way of thinking makes grammar more like a map, not a maze. You know exactly where you are in time, so you know which structure to use. Part 6. The feeling method. Now let's talk about something deeper. Something that separates fluent speakers from those who struggle. The feeling of grammar. When you're fluent, grammar isn't something you consciously think about. Something you feel. And that feeling comes from exposure, from listening, reading, and noticing. For example, if you read or hear English every day, your brain starts to notice patterns. You start to feel when something sounds right or wrong. You might not know why it's right, but you know it sounds right. That's your natural grammar sense growing. To develop this, you have to spend time with real English, movies, podcasts, articles, conversations, and pay attention to how sentences are built. You'll start to recognize phrases that repeat often. It's been a while. Have you ever? I was just thinking. These common phrases are grammar in action. By hearing and using them again and again, you train your brain to use grammar automatically, the same way native speakers do. So don't only study grammar, feel it. Listen. Notice. Repeat. Part 7. The cleanup rule. One of the biggest grammar mistakes learners make is trying to make sentences longer before they're ready. But the truth is, shorter sentences are more powerful and easier to make correctly. This brings us to the cleanup rule. When you're not sure about a sentence, simplify it. Make it shorter. For example, if you want to say something complicated but you're afraid of grammar mistakes, break it into 2 short sentences. Instead of trying to say, Even though I was tired, I went to the gym because I wanted to stay healthy. The meaning is the same, but now there's no confusion. This is what fluent speakers do too. They use simple, clear structures when they speak naturally. So remember, clear beats complex. Always clean up your sentences if you're unsure. You'll sound more confident, more fluent, and more accurate at the same time. Part 8. The talk to yourself technique. Let's connect grammar to speaking practice, because grammar only becomes natural when you use it in real speech. The best way to do this, especially when you're alone, is something I call the talk to yourself technique. Every day, talk to yourself in English about what you're doing, what you're thinking, or what you plan to do. For example, when you wake up, you might say, "I'm getting ready for work." When you're walking, you might say, "I'm going to buy some fruit." When you're home, you might think, "I finished my tasks for today." You're not studying grammar directly, but you're training your brain to connect actions to correct structures. Over time, this small daily habit makes your grammar automatic. You stop translating. You stop overthinking. You just speak. Part 9. The copy and change method. Another powerful trick to make grammar automatic is the copy and change method. Whenever you see a sentence you like in a book, a show, or online, copy the structure but change the words. For example, if you see, "I'm not used to waking up early," you can make new sentences using the same pattern. "I'm not used to eating late." "I'm not used to this weather." You're not memorizing the rule. You're learning the pattern. Do this often, and you'll build an internal library of sentence structures. Then, when you need to express something, your brain will automatically choose the right one. That's how native speakers learn too. They don't memorize grammar rules. They copy what they hear and adapt it. Part 10. The connection between grammar and confidence. Here's something most learners don't realize. Confidence improves grammar. When you're nervous or afraid of making mistakes, you speak slowly, you second-guess every word, and you often create more errors. But when you relax and focus on communication, not perfection, your grammar naturally improves. Why? Because your brain stops freezing and starts flowing. You start using the patterns you already know. So, one of the best grammar tricks is actually to stop trying to be perfect. Perfection blocks progress. Communication builds confidence. And confidence leads to better grammar. So speak freely. Mistakes are part of learning, and every fluent speaker made them too. Part 11. Bringing it all together. Let's put everything together. You don't need hundreds of grammar rules. You just need to understand a few simple ideas deeply and use them consistently. Notice the time signals, they guide your tense. Recognize sentence shapes, they repeat everywhere. Use the replace it trick for articles. Think one or this. Switch word order for questions. It's simple once you see the pattern. Think in 3 time zones: past, present, future. Feel grammar through listening and reading. Keep your sentences clean and clear. Talk to yourself every day. Copy and change real English sentences. Stay confident, communication comes first. If you follow these, grammar will stop being a struggle. It will start becoming a tool, something that helps you express your ideas clearly and confidently. Conclusion: grammar isn't about perfection. It's about clarity. It's not about remembering hundreds of rules. It's about recognizing patterns that repeat every day in real English. When you use these simple tricks, grammar starts to work for you, not against you. You stop worrying about being wrong, and you start focusing on expressing your thoughts naturally. So here's my challenge for you. Choose 1 or 2 of these grammar tricks and practice them this week. Watch how your confidence grows. And remember, fluency doesn't come from studying harder. It comes from understanding smarter. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like it, share it with a friend who's learning English, and subscribe to the channel for more practical lessons like this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.